All right. Thank you. That guy has a high voice. And all right, I got a lot of jokes, so I'm just gonna start telling them. Here we go.
Comedy is a bit of a weird genre, because what makes you laugh varies from person to person, and that in itself can be completely different from entertainment to entertainment for a lot of reasons. Because of this, I see a lot of talk on how something is funny, what it uses to get a laugh out of the audience, mainly for TV shows and movies, but never for anime, which is surprising since it's so popular here. Almost every anime has an element of comedy, but no one focuses on that, which is what I want to do today. And while I can talk about several that I love, there is one that I always find myself going back to. Tanaka-Kun is Always Listless is probably the last one you're expecting since it's about a lazy guy who doesn't do anything. But me and many others love this show and find it endlessly entertaining. So I want to explore what makes Tanaka so funny for having such a boring premise. I do want to remind everyone that humor is subjective and what some find funny.
I feel like they could bring fajitas out from the kitchen a little bit later. A lot of showboating going on with fajitas.
Others may not.
I think they could probably bring fajitas out from the kitchen a little bit later. That's the whole joke, that's it.
I'm not saying you have to like this show or that it's better than others, but I think you can appreciate a lot of the elements that make it up, which is why I wanted to cover it. For example, most comedies have energetic, motivated characters, and that's what leads to most of the humor. Even if one of them isn't, it's usually the rest of the cast that gets them there. Tanaka, in contrast, is mega lazy, and everyone around him is used to him. Because of this, the show is truly unexpected, meaning that a joke can come from anywhere. Others in the genre use quick setup and payoff, moments where you know a joke is coming and immediately end right after. Tanaka does the opposite. The setups are never obvious and the punchlines are usually spaced out, making them have bigger impact when they hit since you can forget what started them.
俺と同じ日替わり定食でよかったか？
選んでくれてありがとう。
いただきます。
いただきます。
そうかそうか。それはよかった。田中、おい、田中、大丈夫か？まさか。
And even when the setup is very clear, you still can't predict what the characters are gonna do since they're all so low energy.
隣の1位の越前だ。田中、私と勝負しな。
俺、何の勝負してもボロ負けする自信あるから。やる気でなさすぎて。
なんだよ。もうちょっと頑張ろうぜ。
無理。今食べたばっかで眠いし。
じゃあトランプとかゲームとかの勝負は？
それなら。
Tanaka really loves taking its time to make something funny, even when it comes to the punchlines, dragging out jokes where it holds you in the moment way longer than it should, creating this dead air or as a way to accentuate the moment even more. Which is a stark contrast to the high volume of most. There's a tweet by comedian and voice actor that I think about a lot. 80% of anime. Listen, if the character yells a joke very loudly, then it is funny. And he's right. Think about it, when was the last time you didn't know a joke happened in an anime? There's usually a loud noise or visual paired with it that's trying to get you to laugh. Funny or not, it feels like it's worried you're gonna miss the punchline. A lot of them rely on this fast-paced, loud formula, and it's why some get tired of it. And don't get the wrong idea, a lot of the comedies I love are built on this samey formula. My fave series is full of them, but there isn't a lot of range here for comedy. Tanaka is the opposite, where it's all based on longevity and silence. When talking about the manga, director Shinwa Kawatsuda said, "There are all kinds of punchlines to the stories, but none of them force a laugh on the reader. And it has an overall warm and fuzzy feel to it that I think is nice. I wanted to get that laid backness into the anime." And he does this with the art direction having these soft colors paired with glossy silky textures, as well as really warm lighting. And with orchestral and wind instruments for the score, it gives it that earthy sound, making it have this inviting energy that you get why Tanaka-Kun lays around anywhere. And that's the main thing about the anime. It's that it can't use the formula of others by design, because it would clash with everything else it has going. I always say that when you limit someone, you force them to be more creative, and Tanaka's a pretty great place to see that because it made him and the rest of the team at Silverlink focus on the other elements of a pretty simple manga and expand on them. And by doing that, giving it a really unique, quirky humor. And even though Tanaka doesn't rely on those elements from the fast formula, it still does implement them. Because they're used sparingly, they have a bigger impact. Loud sound effects or reactions are used to enhance an already funny punchline.
好きな人
嫁いだよ。一生俺の面倒を見てほしい。もうお前なしじゃ生きられない。
俺か
It also likes to revisit jokes. Other comedies do this, and even though it is the same joke multiple times, what makes it funny is the speed at which they do it.
I've never been in love with a woman.
Are you gay or something?
I'm not gay, I tested that.
What? Tested? Since you don't know how to kiss a girl, I'll be your teacher.
No, when it comes to kissing, I know how.
Oh, sorry. I'll lock lips with anyone for the right price.
Really? What do you charge to go all the way?
100,000 yen?
Perfect, you take cash?
Got that much on you?
Most comedies are allowed to do this because of their fast pacing. Tanaka can't, so instead it always changes something to make it different from the first time.
加藤飲むか喋るかどっちかにしろ
冷水器最高。
田中そこ全然口じゃないぞ
太田手加減
すまん
かっこいいね太田。俺も真似してみよっと。
お頑張れ
Most of the jokes in Tanaka are very clearly rooted to a single setup, and that's usually for the entire episode. And because of that, it makes all the comedy very fluid. So one of my favorite things is when it sneaks in a much smaller random joke in between the bigger setups and payoffs.
いいんじゃないのか。
すまんな今田中には複雑な事情があってだな
なんだよ今朝の占い俺のいて座1位だったの自慢したかっただけなのにまったくもう
加藤いて座じゃなくてヤギ座じゃないか
All the humor naturally comes from the characters, which is the final element that makes Tanaka so funny, and that is the amount of downtime between all the jokes. So much of the episodes are just the characters living their lives, doing regular activities. What makes it so funny is seeing how these normal conversations or scenarios become a joke. The time is what gives all the punchlines humanity, because it's so much of who they are in it. None of them are the same without it. It's why the smallest thing can get the biggest laugh out of me since there was several minutes of unknowing buildup. It's why when you watch montages of this show, they're not as funny and why this video won't do them justice. The time is baked into the humor because it makes them feel like an inside joke that you're a part of. K-On! And Yuru Camp, other favorites of mine, are similar, where all the humor organically comes from the mundane of the girls. These shows are the type where you can spend several minutes watching the cast banter along and be easily entertained because it's just friends who get along and you're a part of that. It's no surprise that these shows have been referred to as comfy or relaxing, which is exactly what Tanaka was going for. Going back to director Shunwa Kawatsuda, I talked to Nozomi Uda sensei and it really hit me when she said, I want you to take it easy when you read it. And it's true that the comics have a layout that's easy to read, backgrounds that aren't too busy, they don't put too much stress on the reader. I wanted to take those same ideas from Uda sensei and put them in the anime and make a series that lets people take it easy. And I definitely think he succeeded. It's a series that always puts me in a good mood because of its simplicity, but there's a lot of thought put into it. It just feels like it's playing with me in the same way as the other characters are with each other. Like I'm one of their friends, and I think it's pretty cool to be included in that.